This is the Big Woods Bucks podcast. Come explore the big woods and timber in North America with your host, Maine Master Guide and deer tracking expert Hal Blood. Listen to Hal and co-hosts Lee Libby and Joe Cruzy as they unlock the secrets of big woods whitetails. Each episode will provide valuable insights into the tried and true system Hal has used for the last 40 years to scout, locate, and hunt mature big woods bucks. Listen and laugh as the crew discusses Hal's legendary adventures and learn how to apply a lifetime's worth of lessons from the big woods to your own hunting and outdoor adventures.
Hey, it's Hal here, and welcome to Big Woods Bucks podcast. Sitting over here in Rangeley again with Joe Cruzy and Lee Libby, my co-host. And today we got with us team member Mike Stevens from Jackman, Maine. And we're going to talk to Mike a little bit about everything, and I'm sure he's going to have some funny stories, but we'll try to keep him focused on deer hunting the best we can. He sometimes he gets astray on things, but we'll try to keep him going. And
well, it's hard to lie as good as you guys do, so I got to go searching for stories every once in a while.
So me and Mike go back to the beginning, too, with Mike was actually started guiding for me back in the beginning days.
1995.
Was it 95? Yeah. It was my second guide I had. The first one quit, and then Mike came on, and I don't know why he stuck around, but he did. He stuck it out with me for a lot of years. So anyways, welcome, Mike, to the big show we got here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell us a little bit of something, whatever you want to say, Mike.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me over here today to Lib's house. It's really nice here, and we got a nice view out the back door. And I don't know why you had me shave and wear a new shirt because we're on the radio, but I did it anyway.
I got one more disclaimer for Mike before he gets talking. You'll probably figure it out, but Mike's the only one on the team older than me, so he's the real old man. Everybody calls me the old man, but Mike just calls me boss. Yeah, everybody else calls me the old man.
After 20 years of working for him, I had other names for him, but boss seemed to work the best.
Got the best response anyway, huh?
Well, I tell you, yeah.
It's like sitting in a geriatric ward today.
Well, when Hal and I bear bait, we call the geriatric bear baiting crew. You know, we're out there limping around carrying buckets.
I bet Jackman looked a lot different in 1995, didn't it, Mike?
Yeah, it sure did. It sure did. Everything was different back then, huh?
Yeah.
And I can remember 15 years ago we'd be carrying bear bait, and Hal said, "Geez, we're only going to do this a few more times, and we're too old for this." And 15 years later, we're still carrying bear buckets.
Little smaller scale. We just got a little side thing going on.
Yeah, but
just to keep into it a little bit, keep in the woods. That's our excuse to stay in the woods, right?
Whatever it takes to be out there in the woods, that's we'll do it just to be out there, huh?
So what year did you start guiding with Hal?
No. I started guiding with Hal in 1995. Hal's dad was actually a friend of mine, and I owned a restaurant at the time, and he used to come up and have coffee almost every day when he was around, and we got to be friends. And he says, Hal needs a guide. He just had a fella quit there, and he needs a guide. And I said, really? Yeah, maybe I'll run down and talk to him, because truth be known, I came to Jackman to guide, not to own a restaurant. Joe, you might want to try that on, but
I'm listening. Trust me, I'm listening.
No, the food's awesome there, Joe.
Yeah, it's just when I got to wear a skirt and serve. I don't ever let my clients know that. I'm always in the woods as far as they know.
Yeah. So Hal's dad told me to go up and see Hal. He needs a guide, so I went up and 21 years later, I was still with him, and it was the best job I ever had. I got to say that. And we've got some stories, and we had some journeys, but above it all, Big Woods Bucks came out of all that, and it was deer hunting on your mind. You might have been guiding moose, you might be guiding, doing the bears and all that, but you're always looking at the ground for a deer track. You're always, and it was deer hunting that probably pulled Hal and I together as friends more than anything, because a lot of times the guiding and the working for him kind of drove us apart, huh?
Especially you'd limp in every other day where the truck broke down. The wheels would be falling off one of the bait trucks. Or something, springs are broke or something.
But, well, kept you busy anyway, huh?
Yeah.
You had to fix everything. But
I think he did it so I couldn't get in the woods. I had to stay back working on trucks.
yeah, you were kind of in the way out there. Yeah, I mean, I remember the old, Hal and I was up on Bald Mountain there one day. We were baiting bears, and we were coming down. It was the end of the day there, and we're coming down off the mountain in this old Toyota truck. And Hal's telling me a story about shooting a caribou, right, Hal?
Can't remember. Yeah,
you were caribou hunting. Yeah, he's telling me a story about caribou hunting. We're coming down the steepest part of Bald Mountain, and folks, I'm going to tell you, it's steep. You look right down, straight over the hood, huh?
And it's ditched out. They had it ditched out with water bars.
Yeah, there's big ditches there and everything. You had to slow down. Well, we're coming down off, and all of a sudden I'm looking at Hal, and his eyes are like as big as saucers. I thought he seen a moose or a bear or something there. And he says, we don't have any brakes. And we didn't have any brakes. Zero. He's pounding that pedal right to the floor there. just before the old forestry camp. Coming down that part, There was the steepest part, of course, and we got no brakes. And he's trying to think of something to do. He's jamming the stick, and he's trying to slow that truck down. And it was just, he had to go in the woods, huh? So he goes out through the woods, and we're cutting down trees. And finally, a big softwood tree told us to stop. So and I looked over at Hal, and he's looking at me. And I go, well, did you get the caribou or not?
He still got his arm up on the back, rested behind me. My knuckles are white,
Yeah, I can't believe there's a story I hadn't heard yet.
Oh yeah. But not a break on it then.
We drove it home though.
So that one there, because the reason was back then it was just me and you, and both of the rear brakes were gone because on them old Toyotas, all them lines would rust out and stuff. And the quick fix in the woods was you just took your axe and you peened the brake line flat, folded it in half and peened it again, and it would hold. Put some more fluid. Always carried fluid behind the seat, fill up the reservoir. So I only had front brakes. So when I was going down over there, the front brake let go, blew the line. And so when we come to a crest, we knew we had to fix brakes, but not only that. Remember the rear axle was sideways. It had broke when it hit that last water bar. It broke the center bolt out of the leaf spring in the back, and the axle slid down the leaves on the U-bolts, and it was like sideways.
Yeah, we ratchet strapped it back together.
Yeah, we jacked it up, and we got it ratchet strapped back straight and set it back in the hole, a center pin on the hole there. And,
wait, why didn't you just hit your, pressure emergency brake?
that
didn't work either?
No, I don't think any of them things ever worked. Those are the trucks would never take a sticker,
Right.
Yeah, I used to buy them I wouldn't pay more than $1,000 for a truck, and then try to get 5 more years out of it. That's how that went. So anyways, we ratcheted it back, got it set back down, peened the front brake over so we had one. It went on one side. But when it got it peened, we filled it up, and we had one front brake to get back to town with, but we drove it back.
Yeah, that was just one story.
So you were the first guy that came and worked with Al?
Second.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah.
He drove the first one off.
No. He went on his own free will. Yeah.
So the story goes.
Yeah.
How many guides was there that first year or two?
Just Hal and I.
Really?
For the longest time, yeah.
Yeah, me and Mikey. That's when we was just getting started. We was trying to, build it up, build a business up.
Yeah.
And we started when I started, I tried to, my business plan that I had in my mind, not written on paper, didn't really work out because Deb kept saying, we're not making any money. Because I was trying to do it, taking fewer hunters and giving them that same experience, and only, so I figured if we each took 3 hunters, well, then it doesn't add up for a bear hunt. Deer hunting's fine. You can take 3 clients, and make it work. But with the bear hunters, it didn't, because there's so much expense involved in preparing the baits, buying the bait sites. We get down to bear season, we'd be further behind than we were. So then we started going. We figured we could take 10 hunters a week, with the numbers would work, and we'd each take 5, which was easy enough to handle, because usually the first night or two we'd have several of them out of the trucks, and then the week got easier. But Mikey went back to the beginning.
Bear hunting is definitely the one that you better get your pencil out and do the numbers first before you dive into that, because that's the one that has all the expenses.
Yeah. The best stories that you ever hear from your clients happen during bear season. There's something about bears, that really, guys shoot their gun and the bear's not even there yet. And we've had guys shoot trees and think they were bears, shoot the barrel, they think it's a bear, stuff like that. And
they have a mind-body separation. That's what I finally ended up calling it.
Yeah.
They'd miss so many and wound them and everything else. I never could figure it out.
Well,
for a while.
It's a numbers game with who you're ending up with, I think, too, because all you're doing, you just got to bring someone into a stand and sit them and tell them to be still, basically. It's not as physically demanding, so you have a much wider audience that you're...
Oh, for the client,
both figuratively
It's pretty physically demanding for the guide. Bait all morning, guide all night, and then chase wounded bears.
Between bait and fuel costs, and that's why I never even...
Yeah, it's crazy expensive, but like I say, if you want to hear some good stories, you listen to those guys talk. I remember one particular fellow, just 100 stories, of course, but one guy, he was an old gentleman. He's probably, he was in his 60s when he came up with us, and I'm sitting in the truck.
That's not that old, Mike.
What?
Aren't you in your 60s, Mike?
He was an
old guy in his 60s.
Okay, late 60s. But anyway, I'm sitting in the truck, and the other guys had come out, and we're sitting there, and now it's dark, and where is his name is Ron, I guess. Where's Ron? I said, I don't know. He's told him to step out of the tree, walk to the road, and come up to the truck. Now it's getting real dark, so I better get down there. I walk down, and I'm walking into the bait, and I hear the bears flying out through the woods there. And I said, Ron, well, what are you doing up there? I ain't coming down there. There's bears down there. How long have they been here? About 2 hours. He'd sat up there all night and watched bears and chew, and then he wouldn't get down, huh?
Satisfied customer.
Yeah, he was pretty happy. He actually ended up getting one there at the end of the week. It was all those guys that used to come from New York there.
Yeah.
Bill and they were a good bunch of guys. But
so, Mike, tell us about where you got started in the big woods hunting. We both grew up in southern Maine, pretty much in the same area. You grew up right near where we had our camp. We used to go to in the summer, and then somehow we both headed north in different directions.
Yeah, we did. We actually hunted probably only a few miles from each other when we were kids there, huh? And my dad wasn't a deer hunter. Like most kids that grow up as a deer hunter, the dad was a deer hunter, and you learn from him. But my dad wasn't a deer hunter, so he'd send me off with my uncles every Saturday there when I was 12, 13 years old. And back then, driving deer was legal, huh? So you knew what I was doing when I was going with my uncles. I was the driver. And the only deer I saw would be laying at their feet at the end of the drive. I never saw anything. I'd hear something crash off once in a while. I don't even know if they gave me a loaded gun. But, and so but it didn't take me too long to figure out. I might want to go hunting by myself here. It was pretty important for them guys to drive deer all day long and drink whiskey, and I said, maybe I'm going to go on my own here. So I went on my own, and if it snowed during November or whatever, school was a second option. I went hunting. But times were different back then. Your teachers knew where you were when it snowed. Yeah. If they knew you were a deer hunter. My assistant principal, I had to bring him in deer meat. My excused absence. If I brought him deer meat, if I didn't bring him deer meat, in detention. That's how it went. True story.
So you were tracking deer in southern Maine at that time.
Well, at that particular time, not much. And Hal will tell you, back then when we were kids, there wasn't many deer in southern Maine.
Not very many.
If you shot a deer successfully every year, you were pretty well known because there wasn't that many, huh, Hal?
And you could shoot either sex back then.
Yep.
It wasn't just like, it wasn't bucks only.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I started hunting on my own, and then Larry wrote the first book there about tracking, Larry Benoit, and I got my hands on that and read that and kind of changed the way I looked at things, And we didn't have a lot of money back then, I grew up in a pretty big family, and bringing home deer meat was, very important, huh? So I used to have to go down to the local store. The guy that owned the local store, he liked to drink a lot, and he'd sleep in the barber chair. He was also the barber. So I'd go down there, and I'd go down his cellar, and I'd steal pop bottles out of his cellar, and I'd bring him up and wake him up and cash him in. I'd get 18 to 20 cents there. Well, shotgun shells back then were 5 cents, 7 cents, or whatever they were, and I'd go to the local hardware store, and I'd buy 2 shotgun shells. And then I could go out and deer hunt.
So you could buy shotgun shells individually?
Yeah, singles. Yeah, you could. No one had any money back then. You couldn't buy a box of shells. You couldn't afford it, So
interesting. I never heard that.
Yeah, they sell them to you individual, back then. So, yeah. So that was how I used to get my shells until he finally marked the bottles and he put an M on the bottom of the bottles. So I took him upstairs to cash him in one time. He goes, "Mike, you must think I'm stupid." And I said, "No, I wouldn't think that, Tom. Why would I think that?" He goes, "Oh, flip that bottle over." And I flipped it. He made an M on the bottom of it. He said, "That M's for Mike." So he said, "I'm going to tell your father you've been doing this." And I said, No, don't do that. Well, he didn't, very fortunately for me, I guess. But, yeah, so anyway, that was, one of the early days, and that's how I'd get going on my deer hunting. And I was, very lucky to shoot deer, and it was very important to the family back then. And, almost, to me, I lived for the deer hunt, but my family, I could go hunting anytime I wanted to as long as I brought home venison, huh? So one day I was tracking a buck, and it was the day after Christmas.
That's going to go back to one of the episodes we were doing on ethics on hunting.
Yeah. So I was tracking a buck, and it was you pretty much, we had snow by then, huh?
Yeah.
So I came back out to my car, and there was a note on my car from the deputy sheriff to call him. So I said, "Geez, I probably ought to go to his house." So I went to his house, and I walked in, and he said, "What are you doing up there on the back road?" And I said, "Oh, I was just, you tracking deer, weren't you?" I said, "Yeah, I was." He goes, he says, "You might want to start doing things the right way as you get older." He said, "Why don't you go get a guide license, and then you can use your skills in a constructive manner." So in 1975, I got my guide license.
That's a cool story.
Yeah. So it was either that or a penal institution.
Well, you did that too, right?
Yeah.
On the right side of the bars.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you said that, Joe. I was about ready to grab your mic, but
Mike was a corrections officer.
But anyway, so that was it, And we used to hunt over in southern Aroostook. That was when I got older and I could get a place. We used to hunt southern Aroostook, but as the years went on, it never snowed over there.
Down east in Maine.
Yeah. And it didn't snow. And so that's when I came to Jackman and started hunting up there. And
I actually probably never even asked you what brought you. Did you know anything about Jackman, or did you just land there?
I fished there, so
okay.
I knew the country.
Same way I found it. Yeah.
And you were killing bucks, before I came there. You were already well known, and you were killing bucks, and
so you probably figured if I could do it, you could do it.
Well,
or anybody could do it. Right?
Your hunting career got a lot better when I started working for you, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So you didn't go to Jackman until the 90s then?
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
as far as live, yeah.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time up there fishing prior to that.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I think you landed there about the same time I did. You went up in
4 years after, I think. Yeah,
Was
something like that. 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I went up in 91, but no, you must have come because you had the truck stop couple of years before.
No, 95.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you
when
just started?
Yeah,
there.
I just
Okay.
got there when I came to work for you. Yeah.
Okay, yep. I got it.
Yeah. So I mean, I was a spectator when it came to watching Hal. Go out and kill bucks like he did. And the people that we guided, that's how they wanted to hunt. So it really actually guiding all those people like we did sharpened our skills. As much as we were teaching, we were still sharpening, because the big thing, folks, is you want to be a good hunter, and you got to be in the woods. You got to be out there. You know what I mean? There's no going to the truck for lunch, and there's no this and that. You stay in the woods. It's a big university out there, and the tuition's free, and that's where you're going to learn. I mean, it's time in the woods, huh, Hal?
That's it. I always tell people that if you hunt, stay in the woods, the law of averages will catch up to you.
Yeah.
So you got your license in 75. Did you do any guiding between 75 and the time you met Hal?
I did. Actually, I used to take some fellas from Connecticut bass fishing, because bass fishing back then in Maine was, we used them for fertilizer, huh? We used to catch a bunch, bring them home, throw them in the garden.
They were trash fish. I remember back then.
Bass was,
They still are.
Yeah. Can we say that?
Don't be insulting the listeners now.
Yeah. But we had ponds. I mean, up where Hal and I used to deer hunt, there was ponds all over the place that were infested with 6 pound bass. And, to us, but to those guys, that was really something. I'd come up in Maine and catch those bass. So, but, that was the first guiding I did. Then I kind of got away with it with, working and raising a family and all that. I kind of get away from it. And then I rejuvenated there when I started with Hal there. But it's the hunting the way we do. It's very, very important to remember to be out there. Be out there. It's so simple, huh? It's so simple. It really is. And then all this stuff that we tell you, and look for this track and look for the branch bent this way and all that stuff. People say, what? But if you're out there all the time, you start seeing that stuff. So that's what we want people to know, that, just get out there. Just get out there and kind of teach yourself, and we'll take care of the rest, huh? Here at Big Woods Bucks.
So before you started guiding and really specializing in the tracking, I know the Benoits, and specifically Larry, with writing his book, really brought all the attention to tracking and, different way of hunting. Was there many guys that were guiding with the Big Woods tracking thing before, like through the 80s? Was there many guys that were?
I never heard of any that were doing it. Matter of fact, not particularly for tracking, I know there was some guys that were guiding in the big woods and stuff like that around different places. But when I started my business, I started it with a pretense. Deer hunting was, my passion. So that's where I started trying to build that business of guiding through deer hunters first. Now, I knew I had to do the bear, the moose, small game, whatever I had to do it. But I was always, deer hunting was my passion, so that's what I did, But I think, and we've talked about it before, that a lot of people, I think Larry did give a lot of people an interest, in it. And but I just, I've told you before, my thing was when I got up north into the big woods, there was just something about it that I couldn't hunt anywhere else. And I never have. I mean, I've hunted other places in the big woods, but I never went back to southern Maine to hunt. I lived there, but when I got a free day or two or whatever it was, I ran to Jackman. There's something different about it, And then, once again, it's another one of my statements. You either love it or you hate it. Some people get up there and it ain't their thing, and they'll never come back. They'll go hunt, farm, or do whatever, which is fine, but it's just different.
Oh, I remember when my cousins from Georgia came up years ago the first time, and it was when I first started. I just couldn't get enough of it. I loved it. Especially we'd get up in the morning. They'd make fun of me because I was so excited about the fresh snow and everything, and they wouldn't get off the road. It was just the whole thing. And you can't blame them. I mean, coming from South Georgia to the woods around Jackman in the mid-'90s was it can be
Scary.
intimidating for people. Yeah.
Yeah, intimidating is a word, that's for sure.
They did a lot of walking down the roads.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
What's your first successful guided deer hunt at the old establishment, Mike?
First successful one?
Yeah.
Jeez, it's so long ago. I got to think, I guess. I had a couple old fellas I used to guide. Now, these guys were old, okay? Old.
Oh, I remember them guys.
Remember those guys?
Yeah, the one who was like 80,
He
but
was
he could
like
get
80.
around the woods like a deer. I mean, he'd go
Really?
anywhere. Yeah, he was 80.
80 years old and helped me drag out a 214-pound buck.
Oh, wow.
And he dragged I was in good shape back then. And he grabbed right a hold of that and dragged right with me. He was 82. I think he was 82.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that was I had him sitting on the edge of this cut, and he'd been there for 2 or 3 days. And he said, "Geez, I don't know. What do you think?" I said, "Geez, I'd give it one more day, bud. You know, if you would." And he says, "Well, no, I'll do what you say. You've been pretty good. You've seen deer so far." So he went in, and so I went off with the other fellow there, and then I came back down, and I don't know, around 1 o'clock or so in the afternoon, I just went in to check on him, and he said, "I saw a monster buck this morning." He said, "But it didn't have any antlers." He said, "Just had little stubs," he said. I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "But it looked awful big to me." I said, He said, "And if I see that buck again," he says, "I'm going to shoot it." I think it was near the end of their week, huh? So I said, "No, that's fine." So I don't know, 3:45 in the afternoon, I heard a shot. So I made my way to him. I got in there, and he'd already had the deer gutted. And it was laying there, and he says, "It's just a spike on." He says, "But it looks big." I said, "Looks big." I grabbed it to drag it, and I could just barely move it, huh? You know how those 200-pounders drag, huh? So we hauled that out, and it was a 214-pound spike on. That one sticks in your mind, huh?
is that the one I always talk about?
Yeah, it had like 11-inch spikes, but they were like great big around, you know. They had big bases on it. It was an old buck that it was either on its last legs or it had poor genetics or both, but it didn't have any horns.
Yeah, he was going the other way. There's no doubt.
I looked for that picture. I've talked about it a couple times. That was in the years when I first started coming up, and we used to drive by Hal's place every night.
Yeah.
And we saw that hanging and couldn't believe it, you know. And so I have a picture somewhere, and I was looking for it this week.
If you do, you got the only picture because Mike would never take a picture.
Yeah, I got a picture with that and two or three other bucks hanging on the pole at Cedar Ridge.
I know. Hal's Debbie used to get on me pretty good about my throwaway cameras.
Yeah.
I thought they were pretty cool.
Yeah, Deb's trying to get the website going. Back then, you know, the internet was just coming and brochures. We need pictures, right? We're just getting started. Mike would never have buck and be on the pole, and Deb's, well, there's the pictures. Well, if he even took one, if Mike bothered to take one, it was back in the tailgate of the truck with the tongue hanging out of it or something. And, with a throwaway, one of them old 35-millimeter.
Throwaway cameras.
Yeah, throwaway cameras. And then.
Them were cool.
Yeah, they're cool, all right.
They're not?
And then when he finally. She just about had to give him a class on it. And he started taking pictures with his flip phone. That was his next thing. It was a big deal. He'd take one picture with his flip phone. I don't care if it was a deer or a moose or what it was.
He still uses the flip phone.
Yeah, I think he does.
So it's funny.
I do, but I do have a camera now, Joe.
Mike.
I inherited it, but anyway.
Mike works with me sometimes now on moose hunts, and he had a good moose hunt last year. And I actually, the picture that you took, I had one picture that you gave me it was a decent picture, but then you posted one that you took that just had the 3 hunters in it. And
Right, yeah.
It was a great picture. It was the best one out of all the ones they had, and so I sent it down to Walt.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah, it was a beautiful picture, a good one. So you come a long way with the pictures, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. What it is, I think technology finally walked by me. Huh?
Well, to be fair to Mike, it wasn't just him because there was a spell there that, you know, and a lot of time we'd be killing these nice bulls. You know, we'd be killing all 50-inch bulls or better. In the end of the season, Deb's looking for pictures from all the guides, and we kill 6 bulls, and we got 2 decent pictures you can use for marketing, you know. So
Yeah, I remember she sent out a nasty email there after all, telling all of us how lousy. You guys are the best guides in the whole state of Maine. You're just the lousiest photographers in the state of Maine.
We ain't got no time for that.
I think you came in and fit in that category too, didn't you, Lee?
Oh, I suck. Yeah. When it comes to taking pictures, it's all. It's just on to the next thing. All right, he's dead. Let's get him out.
Yeah, that's what it was all about with guiding. You know, you got him
Next
down.
thing.
Now let's just get him out of here and get him on the pole.
No,
whatever.
it's always, for me, it's always been really important to try and capture that and get a good shot and everything. Mostly for the reasons that Hal said, because I'm always looking at promoting the lodge and having good shots. But even before that, you know, once you're done, that's the only memory you're going to have of that hunt. And man, it's great to look back on them, especially as we all get a little older and remember those hunts and talk about them. You know, that talking about it and listening is one thing, but when you actually have a really good shot to have with you, it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know some of my first. Well, I got most of my earliest bucks. I don't even have a picture of. Period. Didn't even take a picture.
No.
And then a couple of them, I've got pictures like hanging in the shed. I've got one hanging up on the pole or something like that. And the one that I had put on the cover of my first book, the only reason I have a good pictures of that buck was because Deb was with me that day. I took her deer hunting, and she had her 35 millimeter camera in the truck. This was before digital stuff, and I had drug it down off the mountain, and she'd get out about the same time. She'd heard me shoot and stuff, knew it was me, and she goes, "Oh, before we load it up, let's take some pictures." And I'm like, "Really?" And she goes, "Yeah, we got. I want to take some pictures." And so I agreed to it, and that's why I got those good pictures.
That's a classic picture too.
Yeah,
I think that was you shot that before I worked for you, because I remember seeing that picture and who's this Hal Blood guy? You know what I mean? You know? And,
that was 1989.
Yeah. But,
So did you sell the restaurant shortly after you started guiding and went that direction?
Yeah, I sold it probably 2 years after that. Yeah, and then I just stuck to guiding. You know, I mean, I was very lucky to work for Hal. You know, I mean, it was almost a year-round gig back then. We had so much going on, huh? So.
Yeah, well, that was all good.
Yeah.
Still is, really.
But the deer, we guided a lot of deer people that were later turned into real good hunters. You know, you always, you know, to me, guiding, you know, you meet somebody with a handshake, you know, on Sunday night, you know, if you've communicated with them a little on the phone and stuff. But, I mean, you start with a handshake, and Sunday, usually it's a hug, huh? You know, if you... That's kind of how I looked at things, you know. I mean, granted, I mean, there's always times when sometimes they'd leave with my boot somewhere, you know, right up their butt. But I mean, not too often. I can remember I guided a couple of guys from Russia one time.
Oh, I remember them.
Remember this story, Al? Can I tell it?
Yeah, you can tell it.
So,
because I know you don't remember their names anyway.
I don't know. I do.
Hey, if two guys over in Russia are listening, we're doing all right.
Was one of them like Vladimir?
Victor. One was Victor. I don't know.
That was your next choice.
Yeah. But anyway, we had snow like crazy that week. I mean, and deer were everywhere. It was in the mid 90s, you know, before we had the kill there. So they one didn't speak English, and the other one was pretty good English. Very arrogant man. We did not get along. His buddy I could get along with him because he didn't know how to talk English, so he and I got along fine. But I had him on a spot. The one guy, he wanted to sit, so I had him on a spot that was just like deer after deer after deer after deer, but he couldn't see a buck. So he didn't want to sit there anymore. Well, the last day, I'm walking him in, and I've had enough of his buddy by now, but I wanted this guy to get a deer. So when we were walking in the morning, the tracks were everywhere. So I said, "You really need to get back to that stand you've been on for 5 days." Well, he saw enough deer tracks that it convinced him, probably more than I did, I'm sure, but he went back to that stand. 40 minutes, he shot a buck. So I went up there, and I could see it was a good hit. So I said, "Well, let's sit down." You know, "Oh, no, the other fellow there that didn't get along with me. No, we got to go get the deer right now." I said, "No, you let him go, and, you know, we'll give him a little time to die in peace, you know." No, we got to go get him. Well, I kept him arguing long enough, so I knew the deer was dead, huh? So we went and got the deer, and I guess it's a big Russian tradition to bring out, when you kill an animal, you bring out a flask and you pour a couple of shots of Russian whiskey, and you toast. So they hauled out a flask, filled 2 cups, had a toast.
With 2 cups.
With 2 cups. You catching, Lib?
Yeah.
Catching on you?
Already got it.
I mean, and Lib, you and I have been together many times. You know I like a drink
Yeah.
once in a while. So I said, I'm just watching. They had another drink. Didn't offer me one. Well, that's okay. So I said, so I dragged the deer. He shot it right on top of a mountain. So I dragged the deer right down over the hill in no time flat. And I said, look, I'm going to go get a wheeler to get this deer out, because it was 2 miles in, I think. I said, I'm going to go get a wheeler, and I'll come in and get the deer. In the meantime, you fellas start walking out. So I went and got a wheeler. I come back, they're still at the deer. I says, I thought I told you guys to start walking. So I put the deer up on the bars, and the guy goes, well, we can ride on the bike. And I go, no whiskey, no ride. So I made him walk. So I drove all the way up to the truck and took a nap by the time they got. No tip that week.
Yeah.
It was worth it.
Good story. Good story. Hey, everyone. Hal here. You want to join the hunting club as soon as you can, because that's where you're going to get all my information. I'll have short film hunts, video tips, articles every month, and there's also a forum on there for you people to communicate. Maybe you'll meet a new hunting buddy on there. And the other thing is a question of the month. Submit a question, and I'll pick one every month to answer, and the winner is going to end up getting a decal for their truck. Join up at bigwoodsbucks.com. Hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, this is Joe. Just wanted to take a few minutes and talk a little bit about the lodge. It's Lake Parlin Lodge. We're up here just south of Jackman, and we're going to be doing some specials this deer season on our lodging. All the cabins are fully outfitted, modern, full kitchens, real comfortable accommodations. All of our packages are going to be Sunday to Sunday. We've got 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 2 bedrooms with lodge rooms. We've got what we call the mini lodge, which is a 5-bedroom, 5-bath for big groups. So check us out at lakeparlinlodge.com and check out our packages and come up and hunt the area. This is where the Big Woods Bucks live. Look forward to hearing from you.
So, Mike, back in the day there was a week that you and Hal both shot a buck, right? And you were guiding that week too, weren't you?
I was guiding, yeah. Hal was guiding because, we didn't get much of a chance to hunt back in those days. That's how we ended up the Ontario trips. Was we full of it, jump in the van, all go to Ontario, because we didn't have a chance to hunt there. So yeah, Hal was guiding this 1 week. He was guiding a client, Sue Morse, who was
First week of the season.
first week, and we used to have a lot of snow back then. The first week, it used to snow on Halloween, if you remember, right? It doesn't anymore like that, but back then it did. It was common to have tracking snow on the first day of the season, Excuse me. So Hal had Sue. She shot a nice buck Monday or Tuesday of the week, I think.
Tuesday, she shot her first Big Woods buck.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right, too. Yeah, it was her first one. And so the next day, Hal had a chance to hunt. So we're all at breakfast at the lodge, and it was 4 inches of just the best snow you could ever ask for, huh?
In the mountains, anyway.
Yeah, in town, nothing. There was no snow. But they were in the mountains where we hunted, there was lots of snow. So anyway, I told all the sports at breakfast, I said, guys, when you come back tonight, you might want to pay attention to the game pole because Hal can hunt today. And they said, well, what's that mean? I said, pay attention to the game pole when you get back tonight. Because I can't tell you how many times that I've looked out the window in the morning and I see this is the morning Hal will kill his buck. I bet I've called him 7 or 8 times in the years we've been together. Mm-hmm. I've said that, and it's come true. Because you gotta, if it's been talked about here. How deer hunters a lot of times it's more about being enemies than being friends, huh?
Right.
Some guys it's just that it's like almost like jealousy. I don't know if another guy gets a buck bigger than him. We don't relate to that stuff, but that's the way the world is, eh? So, guys used to say, well, Hal Blood shoots all those bucks because he hunts every day. So one day, Hal and I did the math. And do you remember this, Hal, when we figured it out? We figured out in 14 of his biggest bucks, I think we took 14 of them, or 10 or 14 of them.
It was up until the time I wrote my first book because I
Right.
actually put it in there. It was
3.2 days.
yeah, an average of 3 days.
An average of 3 days is what he hunted. And he killed, well, everybody knows, the bucks that he's killed. So, I mean, that right there.
That's a pretty good stat.
Yeah, really, Too bad a lot of baseball players have stats like that. Huh? But anyway, that morning I told the boys, you said, Hal will shoot a buck today. And he shot one 265?
260 on the nose.
260. Monster buck that day. And you were back. Other than the drag, you would have been home for lunch, huh?
I shot it just about noon.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was guiding a couple of fellas that, I don't know, I think they saw 18 deer, but they weren't happy because they didn't see a monster buck. And they were making all kinds of excuses. I don't know. One guy wrote a letter to the Guides Association, wanted to get my license. He said, because what I would do is I wanted to make sure, when we hunt, in general, we don't run into other hunters, because of where we go, huh?
Right.
But there was the guys hunting in this area that I was hunting with these fellas. So what I would do, I would meet those guys in the morning. I'd say, look, we're going here and here and here. Don't you guys go there? Well, the guy thought I was guiding those guys too. I said, no, I'm just making sure we have an unmolested hunt here. I want the whole mountain to myself. And they're friends of mine, so I know they won't go up there. Well, anyway, worst came to worst. They by Friday they'd had enough of seeing deer, but because there was no bucks, so they didn't even want to hunt Saturday, and we got like 6 inches.
Yeah, some more snow. Yeah.
More snow. Yeah. So I went to pick the guys. They didn't show up for breakfast at the lodge, so I went down to their cabin. They're still in bed. So I said, guys, 6 inches of fresh snow. Get up and get dressed. Let's get out of here. No, we've had enough of that crap. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's your choice. So I'm going hunting by myself.
It's like vacation.
So, yeah, it was. So I went up to where I had one of the guys sitting on a mountain there, and he was seeing, like, lots of deer. And so I said, I'll start there. So I got to where I had him sitting on the top of a ridge there, and I got to the spot he was sitting in. And when I find a track, the first thing I do is put a cough drop in my mouth. I find my track that I want to track, I'll put a cough drop in, and then I'll take off on them. Because I used to dip. You'd always put a dip in before you'd take a track. Well, I got through that nasty stuff, so I didn't do that anymore, so it was a cough drop. So I'm putting my cough drop in, and I look, and there's 9 does going across the bottom of the hill, and there's a buck chasing them. Oh. They were going everywhere. It was the weirdest thing you ever saw. He'd grunt, and he'd chase one, then he'd come out, and he'd chase another one.
What a sight, huh?
Oh, they were going everywhere.
To see 9 together up here, if
unheard
you never
of.
hunted here,
Yeah.
it's almost unheard of.
Right, but they were migrating because the snow was getting deep enough now, so they were headed for Canada, huh?
Right.
I think that's why they were together, so many of them, huh? So, it was a big buck, huh? Well, I was like, I don't know, maybe a little under 200 yards away from them. And so I started every time he'd get away from one of those does, I'd shoot at him, and I'd miss. Then he started chasing another doe, and I'd shoot at him, and I missed. So I thought I hit him on the third shot, but he started chasing a doe after that shot, too. And I said, geez. So I hit him on the 5th shot and killed him, make the story short. And, so I dragged him out, and Hal and I, it's always one of our favorite pictures is the two of us with our bucks on the front lawn of the lodge. No snow. Yeah. It was the green grass.
Out on the grass.
Out on the green grass. We tell everybody, we track those in the snow.
What did yours weigh?
Huh?
What did yours weigh?
214.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a little one.
Yeah, Mikey got the little one as usual.
I got the little one.
Oh,
which rack was bigger?
I don't know.
I think they were
Yours was thicker, but I think maybe mine might
longer
have been
points.
Little
They
longer
were pretty
points and
similar.
stuff.
Nice racks.
Yeah, they were. It was one of those bucks that came over from Canada just to chase does, and because where we hunt in the mountains a lot of times near the border, the big yards are in Canada for the deer in the winter, so they all go to Canada. Huh? A lot of our deer go to Canada where we hunt. So when it snows, you want to be on the ball because we've seen it enough now. We know how much snow it takes to get all the deer will be gone. Huh?
So that's all fine and dandy about the hunting part of it, but what happened when you came back with your buck and those two guys that were still sleeping?
Oh, I remember they were mad because they said something to me about it.
Yeah.
About the guy going out and hunting, and I'm like, you weren't hunting.
Yeah.
Kid.
And I don't know. They might have been mad to the fact that I backed my truck up on the steps of the lodge.
And blew the horn.
No, I mean, excuse me, not the lodge, their cabin. I backed my truck right up on the steps, banged on the door. I said, because the good part of the story was I had my foot on the stump the guy sat on for a week when I shot the buck.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Quite a tracking job that morning.
Wow.
So
the moral of that story is,
Yeah, don't ever give up.
don't give up.
I mean, these guys were seeing lots of deer. Lots of deer.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I've said it a million times. It's human nature in people to give up when it gets tough and they get discouraged or something. But I remember, I think I might have told this story on one of our other podcasts about the guy. Did I tell you about the guy that went every day? He walked. He had bad feet and everything. As a young fellow, and he walked 2 miles back in to this scrape I had put him on, and his feet hurt so bad. Saturday morning, he goes, my feet are really bad. He said, Do you think I should go back up in there? I've been there all week, and he hadn't even seen a deer, let alone anything. But I had him freshening up this scrape with doe urine every morning when he went in and every evening when he come out. And I said, his name was Eddie. I said, Eddie, you've put all that time in there. I said, to me, is go back. I said, because what else you going to do? I said, that's where your time's invested. He said, okay, if you want me to, I will. And he hiked back up in there 2 miles again, went over and put a little doe pee on the scrape, went over and sat down. About 45 minutes later, kapow, he shoots his buck. Didn't give up.
You know, it's one of the things that when you're guiding, I never thought about it because in guiding with, they're usually 6 days of hunting, and so everyone has this mentality that for some reason the first day or the second day or the third day, that's when you should get it or should see the most action. And the longer the week goes on, well, that means that the hunting's the worst. But that last day and that last morning, you've got just as good a chance, and sometimes better, depending on weather, as you did Monday morning. It's just that your enthusiasm's gone down.
Right.
And so, going to what Hal just said, there is no, your chances to go move, and a lot of people, and I've been guilty of it myself, just because you might get bored if you are sitting. You might get bored with a spot, but it makes no difference whatsoever, the time that you've spent there, except for, like Hal said, you've invested that much time. Why not do it in the same spot? Then for sure if you don't get one, I did everything I could do. But sure enough, if you don't go to that spot, it's always going to nag at you.
Yeah, well, some people think
you didn't sit it out.
Some people think that the longer they're there, the worse their odds are. But I've always told them the longer you're there, the better your odds are.
Absolutely.
If you're in a good place, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sooner or later, a buck is coming, and the more time you get there, the better your odds.
Yeah.
And from the guidance standpoint, by Thursday and Friday, I've usually got my client dialed in to, he's starting to walk the way I want him to walk. He's starting to follow, he's getting his stamina built up. He's learning not to grab every tree and twig, and you know what I mean? Now, and he's starting to look past me, and they've seen enough sign. They know a fresh track. So, don't give up on Thursday. We're just getting started. I always figured Monday and Tuesday was a gift if it was good, because you got to bring them up to speed. Wednesday, you kind of let them rest up, and Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, just give it all you got.
Thursday and Fridays are the best. And, if you could pick a day, I've always liked those days because you get the experience of that week of putting time in and hunting and everything. And then, but you're not down to because people, it's just human nature to, at the end, you're getting antsy and, I'm running out of time, and it's stressful. And so those towards the end of the week where you feel like you've really gotten a great experience, and then you're able to be fortunate enough to tag one. It's always a good time, but really any time for tagging a big woods buck got
to take them when you can get them.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like the moose hunters that want to pass up a 50-inch bull the first morning because there's plenty of them, and then that was the big one for the week.
Yeah, those days are over, huh?
Yeah.
I got a
pretty much.
story about that.
Yeah.
Well, one thing about it is that, if we're guiding and we're taking a client somewhere, we've been there. We know what's there. We know, we've scouted it enough, and that's a huge part of being a guide. You need to scout, and when you take that client in the woods, there's no time. You don't have time to waste to look. You take them where you know the deer are, and generally, we take them to the same places, huh? Because
It all goes back to hunting where the deer are, right?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't just drive here 27 miles from the tar and pull over and decide we're going to hunt here today. I got some time invested in this.
Yeah.
I know there's a couple bucks kicking around here.
And it's hard to convince a person that,
Right.
well, I just walked 6 miles. Well, you walked 6 miles to come up in here and find deer? Yeah, I did,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to guide a guy named Ben from New York City, and he was a really, really nice guy. And we used to tell him, Ben, you got to get in shape. You're going to come up here and hunt, because he was serious about going. So we told him, and he'd go to these fancy gyms in New York City, and he'd have his boots and his woolies on, and he'd be in there with them people with gold chains.
I love it.
He said, about 20 minutes into my workout, I'd be the only one there. But he'd come up and he'd be in shape, and we'd go, and every once in a while he'd tap me on the shoulder. Mike, where are we anyway? And I said, Ben, I have no idea where we are, but, he goes, okay, just checking.
How many times you look down at your compass and your GPS, the GPS ain't even picking up satellite signal, and just before the client gets to you, you stick it back in your pocket because you don't want him to see the blank screen.
I mean, before GPSs, I never even carried a compass. I was always very fortunate with direction. I could get out no matter where. Plus, scouting does that for you, But I always just used to pin one of those compasses on my jacket just so the client would make them feel a little more comfortable, I guess. I never looked at it, and I don't even know if it worked half the time there. But but that fella Ben I was telling you about, after a while, he got his buck. He put in the time and got his buck, and he didn't miss a year. And it was Thanksgiving week that he came too, and he away from his family Thanksgiving, but he knew he'd get snow then, huh? So that's why he used to come then.
Yeah, persistent. So, Mike, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since I sold my place and you've been off on your own.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Been 5 years.
I'm still guiding, I do turkeys in the spring, and down in southern Maine, where we used to live there, Hal, and then I kind of do bears for a couple of different outfitters. And
Wait a minute, you do a little fishing in the summer, don't you?
Oh yeah, lots of fishing. Yeah, lots and lots and lots of fishing. You kind of forget about that talking about hunting all the time. But yeah, I don't like to miss a night of fishing if I can help it. But
Rookies.
I take Hal with me sometimes.
Yeah, he invited me. I invited myself one time this summer. So Mike said, yeah, meet me up to Crocker there at 6 o'clock. So we go up there, and we went out, and he paddled me around. We barely saw a rise all evening.
Yeah.
I said, I'm just a joner about that anyways. Never called me since. Been almost a month.
I won't either.
I wouldn't either.
He'd been night before he said, I couldn't shake him off the hook over here.
Yeah, and since that night, I've been getting them too.
See how it is? You passed all that knowledge down to him.
Yeah. Jeez.
But the fishing up in up there in the big woods, the bottom's kind of fall since the economy was bad there a few years back. The bottom fell out of the fishing. I don't guide a portion of the fishermen I used to guide. Now they just don't come up anymore.
Well, the fishing's just as good. It's just the people don't come.
The fishing's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk into a pond and the only track you see is a moose track, huh? There's no people even going into the ponds that we fish. I mean, from my driveway, 15-mile radius is 52 trout ponds.
Yeah.
you know. So I mean, there's plenty of fishing and plenty of fish, but it's
Unfortunately, I don't think it's the economy; it's the culture. You know,
Well,
and
yeah.
that's something that we
Yeah.
have to work hard on. I mean, if you're someone that's listening to this right now, you obviously love the outdoors and hunting and probably fishing too, but it's definitely something that we need the numbers to come back on, and our area has seen it. I mean, all I hear about is the 50s and how many hunters and used to be, and it's not the same way anymore.
no, it isn't.
Which is good in a sense that we get the whole forest to ourselves.
But in
Yeah.
the long run, bad, right? Yeah,
Right. in the
because
long
I
run,
always used
bad,
to look at it
double-edged
as good
sword,
too.
I wouldn't mind seeing a few more people around. They ain't going to bother me too much, but it's kind of nice when you track a buck for however many hours and however many miles and never cut a track,
Well, that's because you're hunting over here, Rangeley.
Never cut a human track, not a deer track. Don't worry, I'll be over your neck of the woods.
We got rid of him there once. Now he's coming back.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. I'll pull up some morning to some spot there, and Lib's truck will be there.
Yeah.
See a Summit roofing truck.
But I like getting back to it. I kept, I just keep guiding. I can't stop. I mean, I'm 65 years old now, but I can't miss it. I got to do it. I've tried to other things, getting along in age and everything. You try other things, but the moose guiding, I got to go. I can't help it. I just got to thank God for Joe and his outfitting business, and he hires me because he likes to get a couple bulls once in a while. So
Yeah, when he needs to get a couple, he calls you in. I'm like,
I know you folks have been listening to these guys talk. We got to go way back in there and quarter them out, and
Don't go shooting yourself in the foot now and have to quarter one.
No,
this
wait
year.
a minute. This isn't that bad, Joe. Okay.
The story isn't going
How
where
many-
you think it is.
Would we go 20 over? Probably 23 or 24 years shooting sometimes 10 bulls a year. Never quartered one. In the last 5 years, probably quartered.
most of them.
Yeah, because it's the moose have evolved.
changed,
They've
yeah.
evolved. Yes, they've caught. It's not. They don't hang around the roads anymore, which is awesome.
Oh, well, it's not that we shot him near the roads. It's that
No.
Mike always knew we had the ram charger. See, that was his ace in the hole, and he tried to stave the ram charger down anywhere.
Yeah.
Didn't
Are
matter where. Oh, we get it out. Yeah. Ram charger will get there.
I can't tell you how many clients would say to me, "How are we ever going to get a bull out of here?" We got the ram charger. Don't worry. And they'll be looking at the ground and everything, going, "You're going to drive in here?" Oh, don't worry about that. We'll drive right in here.
Yeah. So Mike shoots one year up. Beautiful bull, a non-typical, and that guy Russ shot that non-typical one up there to Norris.
Double paddles.
So I went up the next day with a ram charger, and we got it out. Drove down this just a winter road. The road was pretty much fine, and then we come out, going to load it in Mike's truck, and I think you must have drove it out with the moose in it. We had it hitched up in the back because I don't know why else you wouldn't have. No, I drove it out. That's right, and then. When we get out to the road, we always tried to get him on a little mound to make it so it wasn't so far down to the tailgate, for the ramp. So I wanted to just drive. There was a nice little banking on the other side of the road, the gravel road, when we come out of the winter road. And I go, Mike, get over there in that wood yard and just kick the grass, make sure there's no stumps. Yeah. So he's over there, and he's going like this, waving his hands like, yeah, come on. I said, you got to make sure there's no stumps. I had to put onto the tie rod. Yeah. He's waving me ahead. Clunk. Right to a dead stop on a stump. Bent that tie rod in a U shape. Right, pushed it right into the axle. So we got it loaded. We got the moose loaded, and I'm driving up the Norris Road, and I couldn't even barely keep it on the road going 15 miles an hour. So you hit the Golden Road. I can't drive this all the way back. It's like an hour and probably almost an hour and a half to get back. So I pull up at the pit where the loading ramp is, up on the pit there on the Golden Road. And I got a chain out of the back, and I hooked a chain around the loading thing, and hooked it around my tie rod, and I just put it in low range, and I just backed up a little bit at a time till I got straightened out, got it straight, drove back home, checked the alignment with a tape measure the next day, perfect. Kept running them.
That's how you do alignments, right? You just pull a tape measure out and look at it.
Chain.
That's right.
Measure the front and back.
Yeah, I got blamed for a lot of destruction to vehicles, which I wasn't even driving it. Did you hear what he said? I was driving.
He usually tells me the stories when you're not there to defend yourself.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I think when I heard that story, we were driving by that pit, and a cow moose ran out across the pit. And
Yeah.
he looked at that loading ramp and said, "You know what happened here?"
Oh, yeah. But to be fair to Mike, it wasn't the first time I'd ever straightened it out that way.
No.
That tie rod on my older Ram Charge, that tie rod was like, it looked like a snake. But I could always pull it and get it back right. You know, you pulled it in the right spot, and I could get the alignment right, but it didn't look very good.
So, Mike, I was watching one of the old shows, or a video that you posted. It was really good. It was a moose hunt, and I'm saying this understanding that you've guided and killed more moose than I could even think of at this point. You've been doing it for so long, been very successful, and I was wondering if you could give us an example of the grunt call that you use for bulls. Because it was a great video.
I thought you shut his mic off.
Johnny on the spot.
Yeah.
It was great. You killed a beautiful bull in that video.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best part. Well, the mic is like hooked right here, and when you call, sometimes it doesn't sound too good, huh?
Oh,
That's my
it
excuse.
must have been the
Oh,
mic.
that's what
mic.
it was. It was the mic. Yeah. Okay.
So
It was Mike's mic.
Yeah.
Hey, the bottom line is you killed it. So, or your client did rather.
Yeah.
A little unorthodox there at times.
Yeah. Yeah. Good video footage though. It was.
Remember the time there I had the Chevy, that old Rust Chevy there that we had. Remember that, Hal, the bait truck?
How could I forget?
I was guiding a lady, and we were moose hunting. Hal was guiding her husband, actually.
Yeah.
And I had her with me, and I got my moose on Monday, so she jumped in with me on Tuesday. And we were going across the beaver pond with the truck. There was a road there somewhere. I remembered it from years ago.
That was the down on behind Coldstream.
Yeah. And there was a road there. So we're driving across. Well, geez, that truck hiccuped, huh? And that sucked the water up the exhaust. You see what happens to a truck when they do that? Hell did.
I know the water hole you're talking about.
Hell, yeah. Well, anyway, so.
He goes, the truck stalled. I can't get it started. I said, where is it? He said, it's in the middle of the bog. And I go, really? I knew. Before I even went down, I went down with the Ram Charge, and I go, he sees the motor in that thing. So, and I confirmed it when we hooked a strap on it to pull it out.
Oh, I got it out of the woods, though. You just had to pick it up out of the tar road.
No.
Yeah. I had those.
No.
Oh, this is going to get good.
Oh, no.
What do you mean?
I pulled it out of the thing. You had it, when I went to go in, you pushed the clutch in, put it in gear, and it was in four-wheel drive, so the front was direct hooked to the motor. I dragged it up out of the bog with the wheels stuck. And that was my first cue that something weren't quite right.
Something.
No, you didn't get it out.
No, I thought
No.
I had somebody tow it out.
Me.
It was you?
Yeah. So when I got it out of the
Imagine
bog, I towed it back. We took it out of four-wheel drive and just put it in neutral and towed it back to town. And the next day I knew, but I went out, I pulled the oil pan off it, and I could, without even really giving it much inspection, I could see 3 bent rods just by quick inspection. So I knew right then that it sucked in a bunch of water in the intake.
I'm going to go with Hal's recollection on this one. It sounded pretty crystal clear.
Well, the truck died right in the middle of it, too. You know, it's like right up to my chest, the water.
No.
Yeah, I had to carry her. I carried the lady across the bog on my shoulder.
So long before I got there and started doing this kind of stuff, Mikey was there doing it.
Oh, yeah. Mike was the...
He broke Hal in.
He was the pathfinder for the rest of you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, someone's got to be the first one.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, an old guy told me one time, he says, unfortunately, somebody has to play the part of a fool.
Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to go to the Big Woods Bucks website and join the hunting club. On there, you'll find short films of Hal's hunts, video tips, and articles written by Hal. as well as a forum where you can go on there and talk with fellow hunters and learn a few things while you're at it. There's a lot of good stuff on there, and we think it's going to be a great place for hunters to just communicate, and talk about a common interest. Check us out at bigwoodsbucks.com.
So, Mike, there was one more instance where you and Hal shot bucks in the same week. Actually, it was the same day, I believe, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right, too. I remember that. Yeah, we were up in Ontario, muzzleloader season. And I had a hip that went on me.
Where'd it go?
I don't know. Far away.
It ain't got it no more. You had it replaced.
Yeah, I was due to go to surgery when we went 9 days after we got back from Ontario. I had my hip replaced. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to miss the Ontario trip for anything, huh? So I went up there lame, pretty lame. I couldn't do much. So this one morning, was it the last day? Near the last day, huh?
It was the last day.
It was the last day we were going to be there. And I figured we hunted an island a little bit there. And so I said, well, I'll jump in the canoe at daybreak and paddle over to that island, but I'll just creep the shores real slow and maybe see a deer. Well, up in Ontario, paddling the canoe across any body of water is a nature trip. It really is. Pike swimming by you, eagles going over your head. It was just a beautiful, beautiful ride in that canoe that morning, huh? So I got over to the island, and I got right on a buck right off the bat there, and he started those ugly bluffs on that island, Hal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Because that's where they want to go in the daytime, huh? And I picked him up in that cedar swamp there, that big cedar swamp,
Yeah.
Picked him up there, and he went up in the bluffs because I couldn't go with him up in there in my condition. So I backed off. I came back down, picked up another track, and he got with a doe, and I got pretty close to him and couldn't get a shot. And so now it's like, I don't know, it's getting late, almost late morning, I guess. And I said, well, the wind was coming up. So I said, well, I probably ought to get in the canoe and get out of here because I probably wouldn't be able to paddle back across, So I jumped in the canoe there, and I started paddling back and going along. All of a sudden, I look and I see antlers standing right next to the lake. All I could see was just antlers in the raspberries. So he stuck his head up, and he was a nice buck. So I got my muzzleloader up, and the wind was blowing the canoe right to the shore where he was standing. I'm like, I got my muzzleloader. I get the sights on him, and the wind's blowing me right to him. So I had to shoot him, or I was going to run over him, one or the other. Huh? The canoe was blowing right into shore. I fired about the same time the canoe hit the rocks.
No.
Really? You got that close?
Oh, yeah. I killed him at, I don't know, 60 feet.
Was he watching you come in?
No, he never even saw me. Never even saw me. He was eating raspberries there, leaves or whatever. Yeah.
So you could have hung around and sat in camp that day because your hips were bad, but instead you found a different way to get out there. That's a good story.
Well, how many times do we say it, huh, guys? Persistence. Keep at them. If you got a sore leg, find a way to hunt another way. Go sit down, do what you got to do, but keep your butt in the woods, huh? So anyway, I couldn't even drag him that short distance that he fell right there. But I was so sore. I went and got Tommy, another one of our guides at the time, and he came with me, and we loaded it in the canoe. And that was one of our classic shots, is me paddling that canoe into the dock there. Woody come down with a camera, remember, and filmed it.
Yeah.
Somebody did. I can't remember. I think it was Woody.
Funny, I always thought that was Addian for some reason.
Huh?
Yeah.
I always thought that was Addian.
No. And then, so as I'm getting back there, the guys are all, hey, we got to go. Hal just shot a big buck. I said, you kidding me? I go, yeah, he shot a big buck. It's a monster. We got to go get him.
Actually, I told Tommy when he went back to tell him because Chris couldn't go. He was so sick the day before. He was stumbling around the woods. He was trying to film me. So when I shot it, I told Tommy when he was going back to get some help, because I had the hernia that year. I knew I wasn't going to be pulling much. We knew it was big. And so
Mike's
bad hips, bad hernia.
Oh, we're the geriatric crew, Mike. What do they expect?
Chris
10
is
years
sick.
ago.
Chris is sick. So I told Tommy, I wanted to like pull the wool on Woody a little bit. So I said, just tell Chris when he's going to ask how big it is, and just tell him it's just a little smaller than the other one, because I'd shot that 10-pointer the first day with his tag, and it was like an average, a nice 10-pointer, but average, you know.
Yeah.
It was the one on the cover of my second book. But anyways.
And for anyone that doesn't know, group hunting in Ontario is legal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
Yeah,
anyways.
you got a good story about that, by the way.
Yeah. So anyways, I guess when Tommy must have got back to help you, because he was with me when we started in the morning. So, but anyways, I was just trying to clarify that, because he never knew. Nobody knew how big it was except Tommy till they showed up at the buck. Right, Lee? Right. Yeah, we got Lee here in the background. They are agreeing about that. So, but anyways, yeah, I'd shot that one. Same thing. We had like a dusting of snow in the morning, and got lucky. I ain't going to tell the whole story, but
What'd that one weigh that you shot, Mike?
220, I think.
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's 220. Nice buck.
He was a young deer, huh? He wasn't really 3.
Yeah,
maybe.
his rack was kind of a tight curled rack, but it was a 10, I think, wasn't it?
8. Yeah.
Was it an 8?
8-pointer, yeah.
Tight curled rack.
I think anyone that has ever hunted the big woods or even aspires to has a kind of a dream about shooting a nice buck out of a canoe. There's something to it, you know.
Yeah.
It's really that's really cool to be able to do that.
Well, when I first moved up to Jackman, all I thought about that, I'd look at all on the maps, I'd look at all the streams and think of a possibility, and maybe the Moose River. And then I went around the Moose River on the boat trip in the summer, and I'm like, well, you couldn't hunt from it because you can't even see over the banks, you know. So I've never done it, but there's places. When you used to hunt over east, Mike, it was probably a pretty good way to get them, because it's all level and you got a lot of that bog and all that over there.
Yeah, one of the reasons I left over there was, like I said earlier, we didn't get the snow like we did up in the up in the northwestern part of the state, and it's all swamp over there. You know, every other step you take, it's in water, huh? Right. That gets old after a while. And it's okay, for guys that, if you're just going to still hunt and poke around, but if you want to track, I mean, it gets real old stepping in water after, and it's crazy, huh?
And it's thick like hair on a dog over there.
Yeah, very, very thick. Yeah,
I know that Mattawamkeag River, when I used to trap that had deer runs right down the side of the bankings, 2 feet wide, in remote locations that you couldn't get to by any other way than boat or canoe. And for some reason, in one spot, and somebody out there listening probably knows right where it is, there's a grove of oak trees that runs right down along the shore. It drops some acorns, and good deer spot.
Someone probably put those there years back.
Could have been, but I was always trapping, never stuck it out much. I always liked this country a little better for deer hunting. So,
but that's how and that was another way we used to get around up in that country was,
canoe.
Get in the old deadwaters and canoe up and hunt that way. I can think of bringing a few out with a canoe that I shot, but never shot one from the canoe like I did in Ontario.
Didn't Greg Lane shot one over there a couple of years ago? Didn't they get that one out in the canoe? Wasn't that out in the?
Yep. Yeah, he not
Over in that
only
country.
got it out, he shot it from the canoe.
Did he shoot it from the
Yeah.
canoe?
Paul
That was a nice buck.
Paul was paddling him down to Deadwater there, and
I just remember seeing a picture of it, but that was a
nice buck.
really cool,
It looked
real
just
thick
like
rack.
it looked exactly. I mean, it could have been the twin brother to my fat horns buck.
Right.
I mean, the rack looked exactly like it.
Yeah,
Thick bladed horns, but short points.
yeah. Ontario kind of lends itself to that, doesn't it, for boat hunting?
No, well, around the lakes maybe a little bit, but and you got to remember again, now it's different. There's not as many deer, and I mean when we first started hunting there on them islands, it was a lot of deer, and there was places they'd come along the shore, but I wouldn't have called lake hunting around the shore the best hunting. And then even the streams, there's so many bogs on they're kind of like small. There's some rivers there, but on the small streams, it's just loaded up with beaver dams, and they're not very big. They're like trickles, dammed up trickles and stuff. But you could probably hunt from some of the streams and do all right. So just to wrap up that story, though, anyways, it was kind of ironic because that Ontario buck I shot that day was the biggest one I've ever shot, period, but in Ontario, and it was 280. And when we shot the 2 deer the same week back in Maine, that 260 was my biggest one in Maine, so it was kind of...
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool.
Well, that supports my statement that, Hal got to be a good deer hunter when he met me.
Yeah. But I always shoot the bigger bucks.
Yeah,
Everybody's picking up on that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't leave out what the antler scored on that, because I know you're proud of the body weight, but what did the antler score on that?
166 and some change, something like that.
What a scrag.
Yeah, short points, but a heavy wide rack. I think it was 22 inches inside, but like baseball bat beams.
Oh, beautiful buck. Big dark antlers, chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was when we first started going there. Oh, I don't even remember the first year. What, 2000?
No, it wasn't that.
Wasn't
that
okay.
early. I think it was 2000 and what year did we say we got together to go? I think it was 2006 because it was almost immediately, I think, when we started the Big Woods team, because Woody at the time was filming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was right around there.
Was it? Yeah. Boy, there was a lot of deer there when the first time we went there.
Yeah, for several years too, and
Yeah.
then they got kind of started petering off, and then they had 2 bad winters there. But they're coming back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're not. They lost so many deer that it's hard to recover from it. But I'd go back again if we had snow. If they had snow there,
Right.
I'd go back.
Yeah.
Because we talked about the party hunting, and I'm a supporter of party hunting in Ontario because I saw so many deer. The first day I was out there, I shot a small 8-pointer that you wouldn't even shoot any other time, right? But I was like a kid in a candy store. I says, I see another buck. I seen 8 bucks in the morning, right? And I said, the next one I see, I'm going to shoot. I shot that one, but it was just a little tiny one, huh?
So who had to tag it?
You
Huh?
did.
I
You tagged it, and then you just kept going because there was someone else in the
I
group.
tagged that, and then one of our other guys didn't hunt near the end there. So we got 18 inches of snow during the night. Remember that, Hal? And
Yeah.
it snowed and snowed and snowed. And so when I got up that morning, I said, well, I'm going hunting. So I told the guy with the tag, I'm using your tag today if you're going to sit here. And I went back over on that island in 18 inches of snow and shot a 12-pointer that day.
Yeah.
One of the best reasons in the world to bring the wives and girlfriends hunting. Ladies, you're going to Ontario.
Don't be insulting all our women listeners out there. They can get them too.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's, let's say it again, persistence. You got to stay out there, folks. Just stay in the woods and get educated, and good things will happen.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When I look at the most successful hunters that I've ever been around and been fortunate to be around and learn from, that is the number one attribute they all have is the persistence. And it's when someone might be tired or it's close to the end of the day, you see it, and the guys that are successful, they keep going. They never stop. As long as there's legal light and there's a chance, they keep going, because you just never know when it's going to happen. And they could probably all tell you stories about how that last ditch effort was the one that paid off.
I think that last 45 minutes of the day is some of the best hunting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially if you're a stand guy, and if you like to sit in stands and you're getting near where they're feeding the clear cutter or whatever it might be. I mean, because in southern Maine or down in the southern states, they sit on those food plots, and that the first hour in the morning and that last, like you said, that last hour at night. That's prime time.
Well, yeah, if you're sitting at, obviously that's the best time to be out. But even like coyote hunting with hounds, you lose a track, or this one's all done, and it might be the logical time to stop and pack them up. But no, let's go find another track, or let's whatever it is. It's that keeping after it. And I've seen it a lot with Hal, and I've hunted a lot with Rick, and seen it with him where it's just keep going, and you always see that with guys that are successful.
Keep on keeping on.
Create your own success. That's what you do,
Yeah, you create your own luck by doing it, and then you'll be successful, and that's what it's all about. Well, Mike, Glad you could come down and spend some time with us and tell some stories. I'm sure everybody enjoyed your stories.
Yeah.
He didn't even scratch the surface, really.
No,
No,
no.
geez, I know it.
Jeez, I know.
The next time is probably going to be right after moose season, and we'll all come back and tell some good moose stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we should do, though, when we do that moose one. We should get everybody that's been guiding the moose and stuff, and we'll figure out a way to get them in a room and close enough to the mics to chime in, you know.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, be a fun one. Be a little break from it, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
Because we can always, in the moose hunting, like we said, is just something, it's something else we like to do because it's so fun. But when I'm moose hunting, I'm always looking, I'm scouting for deer too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, moose hunting, looking for deer, sign, deer tracks, whatever.
well, we appreciate everyone tuning in and listening and appreciate the support, and we look forward to doing the next one.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Till next time, good luck on the trail.